Mhm.
Imagine a world where your thoughts aren't your own, where your actions are controlled by unseen forces. Welcome to the chilling reality of brainwashing and MK Ultra. Tonight on the Tin Rabbit podcast, we'll explore the sinister origins of MK Ultra. In the 1950s, the CIA launched a secret program to crack the code of human control. Using hypnosis, LSD, and other sinister methods, they sought to create the perfect mind control agent. But their experiments went far beyond the boundaries of ethics or morality. We'll examine the twisted minds behind MK Ultra and the innocent lives destroyed by their experiments. We'll delve into the modern-day implications of mind control and the alarming signs that suggest it's still happening today. Join me on this journey into the dark heart of psychological manipulation. Let's uncover the secrets that have been hidden for too long. Get ready to question everything you thought you knew about control, free will, and the true power of the human mind. And remember, once you start down this path, there's no turning back. Welcome to the rabbit hole. Grab your tinfoil hat and let's dive in.
All right, we're diving in.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Everybody in the chat, nice to see you guys. What's up, Mastermind?
How we doing, Cookies?
I'm living, man. How you doing over there, better half hour?
Hi, Cookies. Good. How are you?
Peachy. All right, so today's topic is going to be fantastic. I hope the audience is ready for it. It's one of my favorite topics. I'm sure for any conspiracy theorist, it's one of the best topics you can discuss. It's the MK Ultra theory. Now, what is the MK Ultra theory? The MK Ultra theory is the theory. Well, it's not even a theory. It's been proven already. Just nobody in the federal agencies or anything of that nature have ever come out and fully said that we do it. But the MK Ultra theory is that we sat there and in the early 50s to the late 70s, we tried mind control techniques and mind control experiments so that the civilian population could be mind controlled and easily manipulated.
Absolutely.
This hasn't stopped since then. It's been occurring ever since. It's just evolved, and that's what we're going to get into. We're going to talk to people about our audience about the MK Ultra experiments, how it all began, and how it's evolved, and how it is current day without them admitting that it's like that. So, Mastermind, over to you, man.
Yeah. So, Fluffles, we're going to go deep down the rabbit hole on this one. Let's see. We are just we've introduced ourselves, but I'll do it formally. I'm Mastermind Hour, co-hosting with Bad Cookies, and we've got our concierge, Better Half Hour. And this is where I shout out to everybody, all 6 of you that are here. Thank you for showing up. Hopefully we'll get a few more trickling in here towards the end. But while you're here and while we're waiting for people to trickle in, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Did I say that right? I think so. I've heard it a couple of times. I think you're supposed to hit the thumbs up and then share it with people. And I'm assuming you're already subscribed. So what do we got on the agenda?
I'm excited about this.
Next week's. Yeah, we're going to give the teaser up front since nobody stays longer than 5 minutes anyway. Where is it? It's right here. Where'd it go?
Where's your optimism? Talk about next week's episode.
I'm trying to. I can't find it. Where's it at? Oh, there it is.
Oh, the tickers. Okay.
There it is.
You pay attention.
All right. Next week on the 14th, we're going to be doing the centennial cycle and the history of history. We're going to go in a little bit about how time keeps repeating. It may not repeat, but it certainly rhymes. So we'll get into that and throw out a few of our own personal theories on what's coming up in the years by looking at what happened years ago. And if you could hit we got the disclaimer up. Thank you very much, Better Half. I'm going to pause for a second and tap dance until it comes around again. Here we go. This program is a fictional portrayal of a couple of knuckleheads. Oh, and you just
yes. I pushed the wrong one.
Stop. No touchy. Stop.
There we go.
Stop touchy. All right. This program is a fictional portrayal of a couple of knuckleheads who are pretending to be conspiracy experts. This podcast in no way should be considered informational and is for entertainment purposes only. That's my disclaimer.
No touchies, but I constantly have to yell at Lauren Boebert, man, when we're at those plays.
That's not the popcorn bucket.
Yay, Lauren Boebert. We love Lauren Boebert over here.
So, we got 15, 16 in here. Are you ready? You want to jump in, or should we tap dance until we get to 20?
I mean, we could talk more about like what MK Ultra, like the history of it and the timeline and stuff, unless that's what you guys are going to talk about. I had never heard of MK Ultra before I met these two knuckleheads and these company men. And I'm so ready to talk to these company men about psychedelic science. As well. You know, like I came to this like epiphany of it being like psychedelic science and exploration of the mind, you know. So we could talk more about the history of MK Ultra. Mastermind and I were watching historical what is it? C-SPAN?
First we started watching the 1922 movie MK Ultra.
Don't make me say it.
Your
mother's watching.
Neither one of us got through it. Do you want to give your movie review?
No. No.
Come on, give your Rotten Tomatoes.
All they were doing was
we were trying to do some research. Yeah.
It was a party, man. It like spawned like
soft porn.
The hippies.
Yeah,
it was soft porn.
So we had to do some actual research, and I actually ended up watching C-SPAN of all things. So I went down the rabbit hole.
Sweet. It was worse than Caligula.
Nothing's worse than that. Well, maybe some John Waters.
Yeah,
that was pretty bad too.
If you were going to show clips of it, you would definitely have to do it on
I don't want to get strikes for Caligula references when we're doing MK Ultra. We need strikes for CIA stuff.
Right. Get it where it's deserved.
Yeah. Anyway, company men, I did do a lot of research. I loved it. It was so exciting, like all the different players and history, like just the history of brainwashing itself. It really started in like 1930.
Yeah, well, I learned.
References.
It went from Project Bluebird to Avocado, and then that morphed into MK Ultra. But I didn't know, or Artichoke. But I say Avocado.
Yeah, you hate those nuts.
Yeah, I can't stand Artichoke, so I just block them. But before even Bluebird, there was another one that
Paperclip.
Right after Paperclip, after Project Paperclip, and they brought all the Nazi scientists that were working on their bio programs. They brought them over on Paperclip and started their own little.
Really, what the
meth program? Actually, they got all the meth Nazi doctors over here, all the chemists, and then they
started in a response to North Korea and all the commies. And as your mother always says, when she puts her tinfoil hat on, it was the Russians.
The Russians did it.
But what do you think spawned MK Ultra? And like I don't know if you looked at like the history of the development of the CIA with MK Ultra. Cookie, what do you think?
It was I think you're on the right track. I think it was most definitely a system brought about because the civilian populace wasn't as easily controlled as it was in the past. Like in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, it was a lot easier to control them. You could literally tell them anything. In fact, I think the Franz Ferdinand assassination that started World War I was actually just a false flag, which is something we'll talk about later in our later episode for false flags, is that when that happened, it was easier for them to convince them to go to war. People supported war better. There was no dissension back then. And at the time in the 1960s, not even the Russian scare was working as effectively as it was the way they wanted to. So they needed to find a way to make people more docile and more easily controlled.
Right. I think they actually backfired on that in the 60s because it was the CIA that was giving the hippies all the acid to begin with. They actually, the CIA is directly responsible for lava lamps and tie-dyes and all that crap. I blame the CIA for patchouli.
And Birkenstocks, man.
Yeah, right.
And tie-dye.
Yeah,
Dude, the guy on C-SPAN today had a tie-dye tie. They were totally digging it, man. He did. It was tie-dye.
It wasn't today. It was 40 years ago. But
we were watching today on historic C-SPAN. But I just wanted to mention Old Man Barker, going back to the historical part. Yeah, there was a Canadian dude that spawned it all, kind of, the MK Ultra part, not the CIA.
I need my notes. Yeah,
Sure.
my notes.
Your notes?
Yes. Yeah, they went up to Canada.
Project Artichoke or what?
Yeah, the one that I highlighted. They went up
Project Artichoke.
Yeah.
Or the MK
Yeah, the one with the
big picture one. Okay.
Yes.
We printed a bunch of stuff off. Thus the bunny, all the papers, like
that's what the office looks like right now.
This big, just of CIA documents. It's almost like they're mocking us. Like, why, FOIA and
Tell
all
them
that?
who he is
Okay.
while I go get my reading glasses.
You're gonna go get your reading glasses. Okay. Who the poisoner in chief is? It is. You're making me read this.
No, I'll get it. I got my glasses.
What was his name? Oh, Gottlieb.
Oh yeah.
That was the dude. That's the dude that started it all.
Yes.
All right. Yes.
Sidney
and
Gottlieb.
Ford, Snork. You're right. We're going to talk
Poisoner in
about
chief.
Ford.
But he wasn't. Yeah, he was the one. They went up to Canada and started taking their project overseas to figure out they could make Canadians just as crazy as they could make Americans. I guess. But just recent, and not that long ago, the Canadians were trying to sue all the victims of the effery that the CIA was doing. They were just now trying to get lawsuits going to get retribution or get payback for the families. So good luck to them on that. Hopefully
Go ahead, sir.
No, that was it.
Real quick, we're heading into the nice little soft spot in the time here. So I want to make sure to remind everyone to please share, like, and subscribe. That really will help us in the algorithm to spread our message across the internet, get more crazies over here so we can have a good time.
Now that we're up into double digits.
Yep.
Woo, woo.
So
We were talking about the timeline. Oh, I'm sorry, Cookie. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
We were talking about the timeline. We addressed like the Canadian fuckery prior to the war, Operation Paperclip, which you guys were talking about Nazis. And then in 1947, there was like Project Chatter. And that's when
the one I didn't even know
the
about.
LSD stuff started. And then Bluebird came, which was Mastermind's main thing with, you're going to talk about like the assassin aspect or whatever. Artichoke. So I won't talk about that too much.
Yeah.
And then the whole MK Ultra era, which, there's documents to support that it could be anywhere from 1953 to 73, 75 when they finally banned, they had to make a law.
Right.
Like in the food episode when you said the reason why they made a law for 1 pound of rat poop and 100 pounds of food is because someone put 2 pounds in it.
Right.
They had to make a law that the government won't poison us without our permission.
Consent.
Anyway.
Without knowing about it.
And public assassinations.
Yeah, they have to give you $75 to dose you with acid now.
And then I heard someone talking about the Cold War and it having to do with that. So that's basically the big picture, like history and development of MK Ultra.
Well,
we've got big players that you guys can talk about.
That's just from the stuff that we know. I mean, we only have a few documents. Let's see. It was CIA Director Richard Helms ordered all the MK Ultra files destroyed in 1973. So basically, everything that we know was actually from budget records, from the crap that they bought. That's the only records of all this stuff. And it was still enough to start the Church Commission and get the ball rolling on putting a stop to this stuff.
I wonder if Hillary Clinton hired the same people to destroy their evidence, man.
Right? Yeah. Or they could have kept all their records in the records room in the Pentagon.
Building
If I
7.
may,
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
right. They're,
Snork brought up Gerald Ford, and it's on the comments here. And he was the one that begged the church people or whoever to not share all the records because of,
He wanted to
like
keep it all-
national security. We've
right.
heard that before. Like they can't share stuff because it'll
he already,
disclose national security. And so we got 200,000 documents. That was still quite a bit. And we've got access to all of them. Came out in the early 2000s.
that's what you're reading up here.
And this is the main big picture report, the first report that came out. Anyway,
Well, I'd hate to jump ahead a little bit, but that's literally what they got Julian Assange for. And thank God that he's free now, but that's literally what they were trying to get him for, was that same fucking bullshit. Oh God, I gotta stop swearing. But go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say we're gonna have to get you a swear jar. You're gonna have to throw in a quarter every time.
Oh, I'll need a swear barrel, dude. It's not that easy for me.
A swear barrel?
But another thing I wanted to talk about was getting back to when you asked me what do I think started it all. Even a COINTELPRO was a system that was set up because they couldn't control the people. So there was a lot of projects being done at that time to try to make sure that you can stifle any form of movement or organizations that can challenge the narrative that the government was trying to establish. It's mirroring a lot of what we're seeing today, because they're doing the same thing today, where they're doing divisive identity politics to make sure that we don't focus on what it is they're doing, and they subliminally get us fighting each other, because all they have to do is repeat the same things over and over and over in the news, and then eventually people like sheep just repeat what they see and hear on the news, and then we're sitting here arguing with each other and our neighbors when we should actually be saying, you know what, it's the government and both parties that are screwing us over. Why is it always like that? Because it's been like that since history, since we can as far back as we can go.
in the reference to 1984 and Oceana, that's exactly it. Cookie Oceana. The point of him writing that in 1948, Orwell was, that's the whole thing. They brainwashed a whole society to believe that the government, Big Brother, was their protector, and that's how I was raised. Is that the government is there to protect me, and that's why we put money into the military and the EPA and social programs, and they're like our parents. Yeah.
It was the American
Sad.
people actually at one time thought that it was a good idea to spend money on the military to protect us. Now, I bet if you took a poll straw of the average American, I don't think they're agreeing so much with how much we're spending on national defense.
Absolutely not.
Especially we're not getting much bang for our buck.
Dude, you're actually the one who had to convince me, because for a while there, even I was like, well, we need some form of military to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is we really don't need it, at least not to the level that we have it in. Like you said yourself, if we could convert it to a system that assisted countries and helped build countries up, like other countries are doing, China, we would actually our military would be a lot more of a useful entity than it is right now.
Right. Absolutely.
Which, taking it back to MK Ultra, the whole reason it started and the excuse the CIA used was that the North Koreans and the Chinese brainwashed our soldiers, and when we got them back, we had to figure out what they did. And that's how psychologists figured out the 10 steps. There's 10 steps. Supposedly our government said they only figured out the first one, which was creating a vegetable. The second one was refilling the information. And even Gottlieb was like, we can't do the second one. We can't refill the information, which stands to Mastermind's point. When they figure things out, what do you...
Sorry, you caught me. I was trying to set up a video clip, and I totally screwed it up. And now I'm just eating
trying to set you up for your... When you're...
Can you feed that?
Let me repeat myself. Let me rewind.
You.
It's okay. Geez, Cookie, help me out. What was I saying? Were you listening or no? You weren't listening.
No, I was listening, but I swear to God, I started listening to what you guys said now about setting up the video, and I completely out.
Okay, so basically, I was talking about they didn't figure out step 2. First step, create a vegetable. Right. Second step, fill them with the information. Well, the Chinese had 10 steps, and there was this psychologist that listed, like break down their ego and all these details. An American psychologist figured it out from interviewing a bunch of Chinese and Korean soldiers.
No, I thought it was.
But our government says we can't figure it out.
Right. Well, and I don't think it necessarily actually worked to begin with. All they got was people to zombify and say, yes, I did it. No, I didn't. That's a lot different than making a Manchurian candidate that's going to go and pick up a rifle and shoot somebody and then not remember it. They said that they ended that. When did they say they ended that? 73?
What? Project or MK Ultra?
Yeah.
Well, they banned brainwashing and, they didn't even call it brainwashing. It was deceptive psychological training or something like that. They made a law in 1975 after the New York Times. Please, Cookie.
I just wanted to touch on that real quickly. They didn't really stop doing it. What they did is remastered it. They actually use it a lot in the military today.
There you go.
In the military today, what they do is they break you down mentally and emotionally. They give you massive culture shock so that when they rebuild you, you become a docile, obedient slave. That's why whenever you meet people that are in the military, if they're very sold on the military, you'll see that they're very, very hard to break out of that mental conditioning. So they mastered it. They just stopped using LSD.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, and that's what they do is they separate you from your friends and your family, put you in an entirely alien environment, and then scream at you and tell you you're a worm. Then wait until you learn to say the alphabet by using Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Exo, Foxtrot, Golf, Hotel, blah, blah, blah. And once you do that fast enough, you can actually get to eat your lunch. Yep. And then
that's what R. Kelly did. He made those women ask to eat their food all the time.
Oh, yeah. You couldn't even go into the mess hall until you could,
he applied military
run through the alphabet. And yeah, they make you run to the back of the line. And if you didn't get it right in the first try and however 10 seconds.
I'm trying to find the actual list, if I may, you guys read the top 10 of brainwashing points.
Yes.
So assault on identity is the first one. This is according to a 1950s psychologist that analyzed the Korean War and Chinese war camp soldiers that came back. Assault on identity, guilt. The third is self-betrayal. Fourth is breaking point. 5 is leniency. 6 is compulsion to confess. Yep. 7 is channeling of guilt. 8 is releasing of guilt. 9 is progress and harmony, and 10 is final confession and rebirth. So, like in 1984, they just tortured.
Yeah.
And tortured. So they finally said 2 + 2 = 5. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, and if we're jumping around, when I was doing my research, on the Senate floor, 1977, Senator Ted Kennedy said, you don't want me to read this?
No, it just makes me sad.
Well, it makes me sad.
What is it, man?
The deputy director of the CIA revealed that over 30 universities and institutions were involved in an extensive testing and experimentation program, which included covert drug tests on unwitting citizens at all social levels, high and low, Native Americans and foreign. Several of these tests involved the administration of LSD to unwitting subjects in social situations. At least one death, that of Dr. Frank Olson, resulted from these activities. The agency itself acknowledged that these tests made little scientific sense. These agents doing the monitoring were not qualified scientific observers. Yeah.
Did you see?
I saw it. Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
it's so mean.
Well, it's not wrong.
No.
That's why they have ROTC in high school.
But what did you say about Ted Kennedy after you read all that and you realized you're reading a government document from the CIA and you're like, Ted Kennedy, you told me he was murdered? What happened?
No, that makes me wonder if Ted Kennedy said that on the Senate floor, did he drive off the bridge in Chappaquiddick or was he pushed off that bridge? Yeah. that was a direct shot across the bow, and those are the kind of people that don't like confrontation like that. So I never really felt sympathetic to Ted Kennedy before, but now I'm starting to wonder if that wasn't just a warning to him.
Like a shot in the ear, man. That was a warning.
Right? Right?
I don't, like with even the MLK stuff, when we were listening to one of the, if I may, Cookie, I'm so sorry. This is one last point I have.
Go ahead. No,
it's really sad because it's relevant to what Mastermind was just saying. I got to find the quote. And it was really scary. So we were watching historical C-SPAN, and it was the church committee. And someone's talking about Tommy. It was the church committee, and they were it was one of the politicians, and they were reviewing it 40 years later, right? And he says, he was talking about MLK, because one of the things they discovered was the FBI, which doesn't really have to do with MK Ultra, but it was like tied around that same time frame and the things they discovered and all these documents and stuff. Anyway, he says that MLK, they showed a memo that they wrote to Martin Luther King, basically telling him to kill himself, right? And then he says that it just affected a bunch of other groups of people. And it says, if the government acts against the powerless, we should be terrified, because who will be next? And it comes to like secret power. Like I'm always saying, Ted Kennedy was important. They killed him, all these assassination things that you guys are going to talk about with modern day, artichoke people and stuff. But why would you pick on the powerless? Like that's really scary when secret power picks on the powerless.
Yeah.
And people, like, I'm always like, they don't care about me other than, corporate people getting commercial stuff. Yeah, anyway, it's scary. It's terrifying.
It's the people
that politician was not wrong.
It's the people that said nobody will care about me. Why would they come after me? Those are the people that they'll disappear because nobody cares about them. Those are their prime targets.
Yep.
So, yeah, if you think you're laying a low profile and nobody's watching you, you're probably one of the ones that they are watching, just because they know that they can get away with it.
Oh, that brings up a good point, Mastermind. Right now would be a good time to remind everyone that we here at the 10 Rabbit Podcast really love the CIA. We think that they are a good organization, and we are not suicidal. Our vehicles go just fine. Our hearts are in good working condition. God bless the CIA.
Yes, they are a very important part of our institution.
Just like the FBI.
Company men.
Who
are,
I found the name of the guy that did all the experiments in Canada. It was Donald Hughes. I can't even.
Not Gottlieb.
You can't believe how small the type is.
And all the stuff that I'm reading off the CIA website makes me feel like I'm being brainwashed just reading it.
Right? Yeah.
The psychic driving guy?
No, that guy right there. What's that like? It looks like cinnamon.
Cameron.
Yeah, my eyes.
Donald Ewan Cameron.
Yeah, he was the one that went up that started doing all the psychic driving experiments in Canada, where they just basically turn you into a zombie. They would do stuff. They would put people into a coma for 30 days.
77 days.
Yeah. One of them. Yeah.
One of the
or they'll get you hooked on heroin or whatever, and then get you hooked, and then take it away from you. And then when you're withdrawing and shaking, that's when they're going to interrogate you and see if they can get shit out of you that way. They're just a rancid bunch of individuals. Sorry,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I digress. I just saw the Canada, and I wanted to hit that before I missed it, because I know you probably can't see this, but of course you can't. But the text, I can cover a whole paragraph with one finger. So
look at this text. Oh wait,
yeah, it doesn't. No. Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It makes them array pattern. It's so small.
Too many documents.
Well, and that, like I said, our office actually does resemble the big picture here quite a bit.
I'm sorry, honey. It was a lot.
And then she printed one side in color, so we had that conversation.
But that's the big deal there, though, man. Is because look, better half hour here isn't like real into conspiracy theories. It's us that
No.
gets her into them when she starts researching them. Someone like her who's not really into them, once she started researching them, look at all the information she found and has been exposed to. Imagine every American in this country that has no idea what the MK Ultra agency is. Even the program wasn't even that. It's one of the most popular, unpopular programs that ever existed.
Cookie, I was just talking about that with Mastermind. I said, this is so like in my young youth, I protested nuclear armament. I didn't like the man, but then I felt like they were there to protect us. I was disappointed from like an environmental perspective. But yeah, conspiracy theories. I asked my best friends. They were like constantly, talking about stuff. And I'm like, get out of here. Even him, like whatever, just, yeah. It's right in front of your face though. Like if you just look.
But people like to live in ignorance. People like to know.
Or they don't.
No, they don't.
The
They
time,
don't know.
Cookie, it takes a lot of time.
That
It's
makes
been a
their life
lot of
no,
time to come to these conclusions.
It makes their life easier if they don't know. That's the
Yes.
point.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to drink more beer. You guys keep talking.
Right. Well, I'll give a quick brief history of what the MK Ultra project was about.
Okay.
So in between, I believe the years were 1953 to about 1976. And this is off of the Wikipedia website. This is my fucking Vosh / research. In between these years, the government had created a project that wasn't supposed to be very well known or very well published. They wanted to do it in order to convince people that what they were doing was the right thing for the people of America and America in general. So what they wanted to do was figure out a way so they can program people to believe what they want them to believe. And one of the methods that they wanted to do was using drugs to condition. It's not even brainwashing. Their whole quote unquote agenda wasn't to brainwash anyone. It was to actually make a method where it could be mass produced and easily distributed so they can control the mentality of people so that you can stifle any form of dissension. And we went through several decades of it. And like Mastermind pointed out, eventually it got to a point where a lot of it actually produced more dissension, especially in that 60s, late 60s, early 70s era.
The tie-dye. That's what I was going to say, right?
Yeah.
It created the whole hippie era and then the cults and the fear of that.
That was the CIA's experience with F around and find out. They found out that they created a counterculture that came back to bite them.
and look at what we have now, man. It didn't stop. They say it ended there, but they didn't say they stopped it. What they said, they just terminated that program. It's evolved now to a point where we have our Manchurian candidates, man. What do you think?
Absolutely. Well, that's when they say that they stop doing, whenever the government says, oh, we were funding this project for 20 years and we dumped all this money, and then we found out that it doesn't work, so we just stopped. That's how you know they figured it out, because as soon as they stopped funding it, they didn't stop because they couldn't figure it out. They stopped because they did figure it out. And when they started being able to make Manchurian candidates like
what do you mean by
crooks?
Manchurian candidates?
You never saw the Manchurian candidate.
No.
So basically, it's just brainwashing somebody to kill the president.
Like Project Artichoke.
Yeah, that's why they call it looking for the Manchurian candidate. They wanted to say a code word, and the guy goes and grabs a gun and
it
shoots the
triggers them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though they said they couldn't do it. They could
Right.
create the vegetable, but not.
Right. They couldn't
So
make.
it's a TV show. Was there a real
There's a
Manchurian
movie.
candidate?
Was that? Let's see, Manchurian Candidate. Wasn't that Dustin Hoffman? I don't know.
But
That was
is there a
actually-
real?
There was
Oh,
actually
go
two
ahead.
movies. The original was with Sidney Poitier, and then
Yeah.
the remake was with I can't remember his name, but he's got he was Sabretooth in the movie Wolverine. But yeah,
Oh,
So it's a real thing. Manchurian candidate.
it's a movie. Yeah,
Oh, it's a fictional.
it's a movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But they based it on.
No, you can't say.
No?
I can't. If I could make a trigger word to make you clean the house, I would have used that 20 years ago. And I use clean the house as a reference because this is a family show.
All right.
yeah, you'll get triggered harder than a liberal, man.
Oh,
Just mentioned Trump. Triggered.
Yeah,
I
right.
had that.
Well, and that's
had
why I'm thinking,
derangement
that's
syndrome
my
for sure.
my tin hat thing was the guy that Cooks, the guy that took a pop at Trump.
Yeah.
If they could make a Manchurian candidate, he would be a pretty good.
Crook?
Yeah, the kid, and he's dead, so I can't get his story, but his side of the story. But if there was a argument to be made for MK Ultra, which, well, I guess now
Project
it would be DARPA.
Artichoke.
Yeah, now that MK Ultra just
Read the definition of Project Artichoke.
I know what it is. I know they want to break.
It was the creation of assassins.
They call it. That's why the book about it was
MK
called
Ultra, though. Right?
Well, that's what became MK Ultra.
Right.
And MK Ultra is the one that would do stuff like Midnight Climax, where they would set up a fake brothel.
That was that whole movie.
Oh yeah. So anybody that doesn't know, the CIA hired a bunch of hookers and set up this fake brothel with one-way mirrors and cameras everywhere, and they get these Johns to come up there because after they're done, they're going to be way too embarrassed to admit that they got dosed in a brothel. What were you doing in the brothel kind of thing. And,
was it brothel in Little St. James?
Yeah, right.
I'm going to interrupt. Jacqueline is going right down our rabbit hole because we asked the same question, Jacqueline. How many political... That's when we did Homegrown, our episode on American Assassins. If you didn't see, I'm sure she was there.
She was there.
But yeah.
But anybody that did, you can go back.
Skull and Bones. We were asking, and that's when it came up, MK Ultra, and I was like, "This is MK Ultra."
That was kind of why we pushed this ahead.
Trump asked.
You can follow the thread, but yeah, Trump getting shot in the ear was kind of a direct. You can see the direct line of us doing an MK Ultra show. We just kind of sped it up.
Go ahead, Cookie.
Quick disclaimer: we are not sponsored by Stella Artois, but they have a delicious wonderful beer.
I'm sorry. Trying to relax, so I shut up more.
They're not even her Stellas.
I didn't
She's
drink any
been
coffee.
taking my
I fucking
Stellas.
meditated. How am I doing, Cookie?
You're doing great.
Oh,
Stella Artois is delicious.
It is. I think it's German or French.
I think it's
Italian, Belgian. St. Louis, Missouri.
Well, that's where they bottled it. But
sounds fancy, but
no,
right, I'll turn it this way. Sorry.
Yes, and in Ireland, Guinness makes the Budweiser, and over here, Budweiser makes the Guinness. It's not where it's from; it's where it's bottled.
I don't even know what a bug out of a bag is. We're not.
Oh, and fun fact: the Budweiser in Dublin is actually delicious, and it doesn't give you a hangover, unlike the beer here.
If you really want to know what a bug out bag is, I don't know.
Oh, I know what that is.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. It's a bug out bag.
I was just wondering why they were talking about bug out bags. That's all. We went to the end of the world somehow in the chat, and I was just, you guys go on. I could refocus.
I think World War III memes are the big hot thing right now. So everybody's prepping.
We're at 38 minutes. We could talk more about all the different types of programs. You've got your document notes over here.
I wanted to do.
You, Cookie, you got stuff you want to?
I already touched on the things that I wanted to talk about. Was mainly that the system that was set up was situated exactly for the reason of trying to get people to be more docile. And what I wanted to do was accelerate to the future of current now and future potential. Is like currently now we are being mentally conditioned repeatedly. And when we talked about our water episode last week, a lot of the fluoride and all of the things that numb our mentalities, like lead and stuff like that, make us easier to control, easier to program, easier to repeat what we're told, like parrots. So when the media feeds all of the repetitive nonsense into your news feed, and you can't escape it because you constantly have your phone in your pocket, you're constantly looking at it, you're constantly on Twitter, it's always berated into you every single day, every second of the day, and you get mentally conditioned to it. And along with the water, that nullifies your critical thinking. And that's why I think a lot of people realize now that we have a pandemic of lack of critical thinking is because of the constant things that they're putting in our water. In the future, especially now, you're starting to see the little hints like nanotechnology, where they're literally just going to program what they want us to believe in our brains. This is all not new. This is all their original plan, just getting evolved. It's going into the future. And once the digital era hits its full stride, we're fucked.
We're going to talk about it, Cookie. In our future show, I even made like a really bold point with DARPA and technology, and that being the new form of brainwashing.
Well, yeah, just think about how easy the brainwashing would be if you've already got a Elon Musk Neuralink chip in your head. That's just a matter of programming at that point.
Yeah, dude, I cannot emphasize enough how stupid it is, especially people that are sitting there. What do you call it? They're willingly able and doing it to where they're putting in microchips in their brains, and a lot of them are frying their brains out.
Our son wants to do that. He said, "I'm totally open to that."
Why?
Like, think about what you're talking. Because
it's cool, man.
Yeah, I mean, every generation.
I can play Fortnite without a controller, dude.
He doesn't play Fortnite. He's not that bad.
Somebody plays Fortnite, and they're going to do it without a controller.
I don't know. Yeah. We'll talk about that with our nanotech for sure, and brainwashing show.
That'd be a good one.
You can connect it, With MK Ultra, though, there's so much there. Like, even when I was researching media shows, Cookie. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, no. Going back to when you were talking about being brainwashed with social media, too. Did you see that on Discord that I sent right before the show? Did you happen to check some of that out?
I was trying to figure out why I couldn't get
this. Oh.
That was mine.
Yeah. But anyway, it was about social media.
Old man uses computer. You know how that
brainwashing
goes.
us. And when you're talking about hearing the same thing over and over with Mastermind being in the media, working for the news stations with AP News, is that what it is? They will send out a bulletin that has a news story on it, and people don't want to talk about lazy thinking and not being discerning. Our media is even lazy, and that's why you're hearing the same crap.
When you see that, I'm sorry.
I'm telling your story so you could get those other points.
Right. That when you see the video where it's one anchor saying it, and then 2, then 4, then 8, and everything, you can pretty well be sure that all of those different news stations were all from the same network. Those were all ABC or NBC or CBS, but they all, because every one of those stations gets a fax from, the main office in New York, and they will feed all these stations stories if their town doesn't have any news happening that day, or they're just too lazy to go out and get it. And they can just sit there and have the network feed them pablum news, and they just become news readers at that point, which...
Let's dive into the rabbit hole on that one, though, man. Why do they get that report? Is it because they're being lazy, or is it because the agencies and the people that work with those agencies, like I forgot the name of the guy that owns
they all own
Fox
them.
News. Yeah. Those guys,
they're like franchises, though, Cookie. They're like franchises. So they buy the rights to the AP News information, and their reporters don't want to sit there and do investigative reporting. In other ways, they just spew what they're reading.
Well, I mean, some of it is AP, but when you get them handing out scripts like that, it's usually from the main network headquarters, whether it be NBC or what have you.
Who's writing those scripts, though? Is it the
AP News?
No. Who's writing the scripts for them? Because AP News is getting it, is the one distributing
this guy.
Right.
This guy right here.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, and that's part of Operation Mockingbird. That's when the feds were embedding themselves into the Main Street media.
Ooh, yeah.
And so, you've definitely got...
Talk about Mockingbird.
And that makes it a lot easier if you've got one Fed in the newsroom in New York, then you don't need 500 Feds across the country in every little podunk town on their... You just control it at the head, and then it all flows down from there.
Right, dude. That's why I'm trying to get into the rabbit hole here. Is like I'm trying to theorize why is it that everyone's repeating it? Why is everyone getting that same talking point from the AP resources? Because Associated Press is already owned by. I'd hate to sound like fucking Bernie Sanders here, but they're owned by billionaires, and those people have an agenda to push along with the MIC because they need to push that, man. They need to push the necessary requirements in order for you to be distracted so they can sit there and launder money in Ukraine or fucking sit there and push a war in Israel. They need these things so you don't pay attention.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. As long as they can keep the distraction going, they can keep that money printer going without anybody realizing that every time they print $2, that makes your dollar worth 50 cents.
Yeah. And then, but why though? Why? Because their wealth is not even tied up on the American dollar anymore. Like, yes, some of them have stocks and so on.
I buy
but
petrodollar. Yeah.
they've already diversified from the petrodollar. They're not even
Right.
in the petrodollar anymore. Most of them are getting either into crypto,
Thank you.
so they can collapse crypto, or they're already moving their money over to the Chinese yen. Some of them are moving it to Russian rubles, anything that's not American, because they're diversifying that American dollar so that when our dollar collapses, their dollar is still worth a lot more than it was originally.
Right. Yes.
Excuse me. The bear is making me burp. I
Can't
hope
take
nobody
it
heard
anymore.
that.
Can't take you, not until you mentioned it, but thanks for pointing it out to everybody.
I'm not a beer drinker.
Yeah, my beer, by the way. You should drink your own beer.
Sorry, everybody.
So I had a list I wanted to run through of all, in memoriam of all
Let
the
me get that for
victims
you, honey.
of
Of the MK
MK Ultra. But
alumni.
unfortunately,
The
it's so
alumni.
small I can't even
No,
read it.
here I got a bigger list for you, old man.
That's ridiculous. You know, when you print that, you can hit zoom.
It's font 14. I do font 14.
I promise
for
you
'em.
that's not 14.
That's not 14. That's the CIA trying to make you squint, stress you out more.
No,
No, Patty Hearst.
okay.
It's, hold
never
on.
mind. I can.
Here it
read
is.
Oh.
MK Ultra alumni, right here.
Ah, there we go.
Mhm.
So just a few of the people that fell victim to MK Ultra. I know some of these are going to be a shock to you, but it was. Sorry, I just got
You okay?
dog attacked. There we go. And we're back. So Charlie Manson, pretty famously, was working with MK Ultra and getting acid from them. Whitey Bulger, he was a gangster from the 30s. Was he in Chicago? I don't know. But Whitey Bulger,
A
no, he was
gangster
East
in the-
Coast, right? Anyway, yeah, he was. He got dosed by MK Ultra.
But these are
James
willing,
Joseph Whitey Bulger,
honey, you got it.
Boston mobster.
willing participants.
Huh?
A lot of these are willing participants
Ted
that
Kaczynski.
verbally said,
Kaczynski
I am
wasn't
going
willing.
to let
No.
you dose me and
No.
mess with my brain.
Yeah, some of them. Sirhan, I don't know. Nobody knows if he was or wasn't.
I know
But there's
the
a
dude.
lot of people that say he walked up to RFK Jr. with a gun full of blanks. I mean,
Really?
he was from me to you from him and shot him in the chest
you
and
talked about
missed.
that
So you
before.
tell me how you missed from that distance. But
Yeah, we actually
He's a-
talked about that in the assassination episode.
yeah, so he's another possible MK Ultra victim. And Ken Keesley, the author of One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Which
He
is
was
really
a voluntary.
scary. Yes,
He was a voluntary, but the bad thing is
Such a
with
good
the
story.
volunteers, if you were volunteering, then they would felt free to go batshit crazy, and they were dosing people 77 days in a row with this stuff, with
God,
acid.
man.
Right?
Can you imagine being?
That's a long, strange trip.
What,
Dude.
Cookie?
I'm just saying. Can you imagine being on acid for 77 days, man? I'd lose my mind.
No.
I couldn't imagine being on it for one day. I've
I-
never done
no.
it, but I
Really?
never, not once.
Mm.
I'm an Iowa farm boy.
I'm
They
gonna
don't
stay
have
quiet.
acid where I'm from,
Oh, dude, we got to take a trip to the desert, man.
right? Well,
Yeah, I'll be your guide.
uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
So,
I mean, it's like dirty mushrooms.
well, I've done
Yeah.
dirty mushrooms, so yeah.
That's the way I would describe it, I suppose.
Yeah, it's really, really close, man. Like acid, dude. It's like I'd hate to get all hippie with the shit, but
No.
acid. When you take acid, at least in my experience, when you take acid, whatever it is you're experiencing, it just amplifies it to like
Right.
to the 10th power. So if you're real happy, dude,
Yeah.
you're gonna feel amazing. If you feel terrible, you're gonna feel
Yeah.
even worse. If you're depressed, it just makes you want to.
Yes. Well, that's why I'm going to ask this, you guys, and I didn't even prepare us for this question, but if I may, and I'd like to hear from Cookie about this too, is so you know how they're doing modern day microdosing and mushrooms and therapy for PTSD for military dudes, which maybe that was the positive part of this because we helped soldiers deal with, being messed with. Do you think it's another form of them having an opportunity to slip in there, or are they really helping people? I mean, I have friends that are going to school for this, for microdosing and psychology. And the laws are all changing in Colorado where we live. Like, I'm surprised we didn't address this, but from a psychological perspective, what do you guys think? Is it a good thing or?
Well, it's obviously a good thing, and that's why they. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cookies.
No, man, go ahead. You're well into it.
I think that was the problem. Was they took, well, and acid's a derivative of ergot, which is a fungus. But like when they were dealing with mushrooms have been around as long as people have. So we've evolved with them, and they tried to take something that was inherently natural and good and use it for nefarious purposes. And that's why they had such a hard time doing it. Because then, that's how they started the counterculture revolution. They effed around and found out that they were trying to suppress people, and they actually expanded their minds, and it was a complete backfire.
Which goes back to Cookie's Doors of Perception with Aldous Huxley. Like, it was, with reality and our simulation stuff. Cookie, what do you think? Is it a good thing, the psychology behind microdosing and all that?
I think it's another method of them trying to make it socially acceptable for them to try to program people outright without having any form of backlash. For example, if, like you said, you have friends and such that are already studying to do microdosing.
Yeah,
in
college.
I don't know is it a clinical experience?
Yes, clinical setting, yes, where they will microdose and then help with PTSD.
They have a nurse
Absolutely, and
time.
it's a law in Colorado now for mushrooms, but not LSD yet.
Well, see, that's what I mean. It's like once you pass it into law and you start making it clinically acceptable, you will lose that stigma to it. So then people will be more willing and accepting to go in and get dosed. Once you get them dosed, it's easier to program them the way you want to do that. Especially if you introduce, like I said, once you start introducing nanotechnology and you get them microdosed, guess what? You're going to be a real puppet because they're just going to tap into your brain. Your brain is nothing but electrical signals. You let them put nanotechnology into you and then microdose you, they can literally tell you to do whatever they want you to do, and you're going to do it. At least that's
I have to laugh because Abby's laughing with me. Mastermind, your mother said, look at Toad.
Yeah.
Did you ever look at Toad, Cheryl, in the back of the cornfields of Iowa?
No, those toads, they don't have those.
Better than Prum Runches.
Those are Mexican toads. We don't.
Her and I got so drunk on a vacation in South America. She was calling. What do they call? A rum punch, Pum Runches.
Yes,
it was adorable.
So I have in my hot hands the actual. You can't. Damn it! Why do I even try that? There we go.
What are you trying to do?
He's trying to get the camera to focus
Project
on the
Artichoke?
Yes, the artichoke that was
from the CIA.
That actually has all the redactions and crap in it.
Well, it's a report on all the things that happened.
The report on
like
the report
big picture report. Yes,
but there was a couple things that I highlighted in here that I did want to share.
200,000 freaking documents.
Basically,
twitching.
Like I was saying, the only reason they know about most of this stuff is because they got a hold of all the budget reports. So they could see what they were buying and stuff. So basically, this is basically a cookbook for MK Ultra. And they're talking about there were folders on specific drugs and chemical agents, such as this is the one that crossed out. Wolfia, serpentina, Maritran, Mitzerol, mescaline, etc. Yeah, and that was my point on the etc. It's like
have to take them out to the desert.
If it's a government report and you're listing all of the chemicals that they were using, you can't use a word like etc. That means there's more. That's like saying the side effects of a gunshot wound may include itching, swelling, redness at the injection site, lightheadedness, etc.
Oh, wait, mouse? Seriously? So, other mother mind.
Well,
You don't
yeah.
lick the toad. You dry its mucus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Act like you
Ask
been
a shaman.
somewhere.
I was gonna, when we first met, I said I was gonna smoke my mother's ashes, and you freaked out on me.
Yes, because that's
Oh, that's
disgusting.
gross.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
Can
Why
I
is
finish
that
now?
gross?
Can I finish now?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Together with several folders of non-drug related fields of behavior control, such as amnesia, ESP, electroshock therapy, prefrontal lobotomy, and schizophrenia. They actually use schizophrenia as a behavior control, which I thought was very odd.
The
And then
etc.
I get 6 pages of this, nothing.
Well,
Oh.
what? Well, no, nothing. Meaning they redacted 6
Right.
pages
Yes.
of what section though?
Yeah.
You pointed that out to me.
Right.
You're like,
It comes
excuse
previous to it. It says a comparison of this material to that which was previously provided again shows that in general, the newly discovered documents merely contain additional details concerning such activity rather than significantly changes to the previous understanding of the agency's use of drugs on humans. Some of this material does, however, contain additional detail which warrants highlighting in this report. And then the next page is 6 pages of that.
Shit.
6 pages of nothing.
So, but shouldn't they protect? Like Cookie was saying earlier in the show, that the government, like I was talking about them being parental and mass, that we do want protection. We want biosecurity. We want all these things, but we don't have to put as much money into it, right? Let them have a bake sale to get books for school or whatever that saying was.
Well,
But-
I'm
Go
sorry
ahead,
to
Cookie.
interrupt. Wasn't Project MK Naomi about that? About how the CIA and the Army would try to stockpile a bunch of poisons and
I don't
thousands?
know. Let me look.
Yeah, because I remember reading that on the notes you provided was that the CIA and
No.
Army covert operations developed stockpiles and arrays of biological agents for
Oh my
that
God.
same purpose.
A poison pill for every man, woman, and child on the
Do you
planet.
guys want me to
Sounds-
read some of the? I'm not paying attention to the comments at this point, but I could read some of the programs that the church committee found besides
Go for it.
MK Ultra.
Okay.
So it was a 16. This is the Frank Church Committee articles and notes that it was a 16-month investigation, which included 126 committee meetings, 40 subcommittee meetings, 150 staff members, and 800 witness interviews, uncovering shocking facts and intelligence operations that had been unknown to both Congress and the public. So the first one was attempted assassinations they uncovered. And Cookie, you talked about Fidel Castro. Please forgive, I am a pseudo-intellectual. I can't pronounce people's names.
Fidel.
Okay, Fidel Castro, President Rafael Trujillo of the Dominican Republic, Prime
Trujillo?
Minister Patrice. Anyway, all these people they were going to try to kill. You'd say this word though, because I couldn't say it when we were watching C-SPAN.
CONINTELPRO.
CONINTELPRO, which is it was the FBI, not the CIA, that they uncovered the MLK stuff, writing him a letter to like off himself right before he gets the Nobel Peace Prize.
34 days.
So it says covert operations by the FBI to infiltrate and discredit domestic organizations that is considered subversive, such as civil rights activists, feminists, environmentalists. I was told I was crazy half my life because I tree hugger, even the science. Anyway, protesters of the
That's not
Vietnam
why they were
War
calling you crazy.
and communists. Then there was Project Mockingbird. You guys talked about that, which is the CIA recruitment of journalists to spread propaganda through the media. Do you guys want to talk about that for a second before I go on?
Well, we touched on it.
Oh,
We
you
can
did.
swing back to
Cookie
that.
talked about all that. Project Minaret, like
Sure.
NSA monitoring with the cooperation of telecommunication companies,
Oh, it's Ma Bell, I suppose.
of communications of individuals on its watch list, including the dudes who were investigating them, which was Senator Church and the Church Committee, Walter Mondale and Howard Baker, Otis Pike, known as the Pike Committee, because they were also, Pike did a lot. He was the one that talked about how cruel to pick on the powerless.
Right.
Like,
That
what
was
the
that
F
quote.
is wrong with you, government? I hope someone's starring comments, Cookie. Okay, I'm going to go on because you said Project Naomi. It's the last one. Project Shamrock, which is copies of all telegrams going in and out of the United States sent by telecommunication companies to the NSA, which then disseminated them to other intelligence agencies. HT Lingual, the interception and review by the CIA of mail sent to the Soviet Union and China under the guise of foreign intelligence, and the targeting of prominent civil rights leaders such as Martin Luther King Jr.
That's why Ben Franklin wrote Lemon Juice.
And what? Were you making a
That's why Ben
joke?
Franklin wrote in Lemon Juice, because it disappears and you can't see it.
His secret spice.
We've lost our founding father spirit. We just openly shout what we think out the windows now.
Then we finally hit MK Ultra that the Church Committee discovered. CIA experiments conducted on American citizens in which high doses of LSD and other drugs were given to see if the individuals became more susceptible to brainwashing techniques or interrogation, because it really did have to do with prisoners of war.
Well, yeah, it was after the Korean War and all the POWs came back.
Right.
They were
Chinese and war prisoners.
North Koreans were taking them to the show courts, and the American citizens were going, "Yes, I did it." Yeah, and the CIA says,
"Seriously,
man, we need to know how to make people go, yes, I did it."
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, they showed some feelings.
Yeah, they were behind in this. They were behind in the space race, and they were behind in the mind race.
Okay,
It's always been them just trying to catch up.
Least is Cookie's point of Project MK Naomi, which is CIA and Army covert operations to develop and stockpile an array of biological agents. This is going to make me cry. I don't want to read this.
Put it out.
No, it's because I had a beer.
Want me to read it?
Yes.
Mic check? Dude, I just completely lost audio.
Oh, shit.
I hear you. Can you hear me?
What the fuck? All right,
Oh,
you guys
dude.
carry on. I'll
You're
see if I
back.
can fix my audio real quick.
No, we can hear you.
We can hear you, so you're good.
We can hear you.
Project Naomi. CIA and Army covert operations to develop and stockpile an array of biological agents without the authority of Congress or President, including poisons of quantities that could kill tens of thousands and offensive weapons capable of delivering them. So, yeah, that's your tax dollars at work there, by the way. And I was back in the
It's still happening.
avocado. Why can't I ever say artichoke? Did I miss one?
Because you hate avocados more than you hate artichokes,
But
and I love
they
both.
actually, we were talking about Whitey
Are you back,
Bulger.
Cookie? Wait, let's make sure his sound is okay. He's muted.
He's muted.
Oh.
And he'll be back. He's
Okay.
just resetting, and that'll give me time to read this. A June 1943 OSS memorandum refers to various
he's
experiments with U.S. military volunteers using mescaline, cannabis, and that's not indica. What is that?
Where?
Right there. I know.
Indicia?
Indicia. It looks
I have
like
no
indica
idea
to
what
me.
that is.
That's where
I'm
my
sorry, I
mind
started
went.
crying.
Hey, can you hear
Alright.
me?
Oh,
Got
I
you,
can
buddy.
hear you now. Cookie.
And tetrahydrocannabinoid.
Reading a little bit of
acetate.
Project Artichoke.
This memorandum also mentions an unwitting test in 1943 on a notorious New York gangster by one of the OSS researchers. But I think by notorious New York, I think they meant Boston. I think they were talking about Whitey there.
Okay. Cookie, right, is your sound back?
No, he hears nothing.
Son of a bitch, man. I can't hear anything
Oh.
you guys are saying. I'm
You
going to mute
sound like
myself.
my
Carry on, please.
grandmother.
All right.
Son of a beach.
Son of a bicha.
Are you sure you're not a old Sicilian lady? That's my theory too, maybe. All right. We're almost at an hour. We're past an hour.
Okay.
Mastermind. And if I starred a lot of comments, and Cookie, I want to hear what you say during the comment responses, please.
Oh, I had so much more
Did you
crap.
figure it out? Damn it.
No, he's
right.
muted. And I had so much more
Okay.
crap. You're really going to cut me off, huh? Okay.
Oh, Cowboy Kitty's all about the
All about the
logos. I don't know why some of these.
No, so I also have a friend they call Tommy who
I
is
can
go
respond.
ahead. No, please.
I also have a friend I will call Tommy,
I just
who
don't
was
want
in
you
a
to cry in the
military
middle of
ultra
it.
program in the 60s and 70s. He was recruited for his deviant personality. He was really proud of that. I think that's when you were talking about being brainwashed by the military. Snork says, I'm curious about this, Snork, because when we were talking about Gerald Ford and him begging to not release the CIA documents, you mean he was like Skull and Bones, probably?
Oh, yeah.
Was he Skull and Bones? Is
all-
that what it is?
I
Let's
think a
look
lot
at
of
the
them
life.
came out of that little frat. The fun little frat.
That's not relevant, but it sounds good.
Did you get
I
through
want some guacamole. No, I didn't get through the stars, but
Okay.
I'm waiting for. I want to hear. Cookie, are you back?
Oh, he's still muted.
Okay. Someone says they hate the military. They tried to send me to a military camp when I was 16. They stopped when I said I will use that training to
something
come
weird's
after
going
them.
on because I can't hear you guys on StreamYard, but I can hear you on YouTube.
I can hear you right now.
I can see your lips moving.
I don't
Your lips move, but I can't hear what you're saying.
vacuum.
When Better Half was a child, she caught a fleeting glimpse.
All right, we're reading comments, Cookie.
Good Pink Floyd reference.
So I have a list. Can I finish my?
I thought we were reading comments.
Well, I know, but I never got through my drug list.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
And then we got
Cookie's
distracted. I'm
still
sorry.
trying to figure out his microphone. I would tap dance
All
to it
right.
a little bit.
Okay.
Plus, I wanted to
I'll
read the
back
rest
off.
of these.
We got time.
Number of drugs and one injection device. Oh, okay. It's this is more of the inventory of stuff that they found in the records. And besides an automatic self-injecting device similar to that used in military service for self-injection of atropine to counterattack nerve gas, we have
Thorazine is what they issue in mental hospitals to create a coma-like state.
Yeah, it's a tranquilizer.
Yeah.
So they found raw Dixon, and that's an ethical medical preparation still used today to treat hypertension and psychotic states.
But this was released when? So it was relevant in 2000 up here. Since the release date, 2002, they released this document that was published in 1950.
Right.
So for them to say it's still relevant today, it doesn't mean it could be relevant.
Yeah, it was relevant
now.
back then.
So,
Thorazine hydrochloride, right?
is
That's
back,
a tranquilizer. Methadone, that's a well-known stimulant.
Are you back, Cookie?
Yeah, audio is perfect now. I don't know what the fuck that's did to me.
Yay! All right. Well, then I'll just whip these off real quick.
He's being a drug man right now, company man. Pushing the drugs.
That's anti-nausea medication. Deprasol, that's a mild analgesic.
What are you saying? I don't even know half the words you're talking about.
So, and then they had a sealed display card from the Columbia University Parkinson's Research Laboratory showing the drugs listed below that they were using for Parkinson's research.
Marijuana should be on there.
And
Parkinson's or CBD.
Acute cholinergic drugs used for the treatment of Parkinson's. Hydrocine, Artane, Theraporin.
Slow down for 1 second. Let me ask you a question. Why are you reading all this?
Well, I wanted to get to this part. They use cholesterol, a muscle relaxant, antihistamine for allergies. That's Benadryl. Dexedrine, a stimulant.
That sounds like meth.
That's what I'm saying. What's this have to do with Parkinson's? 2 drugs listed under the study, compound 08958 and MK02, could not be identified.
Okay.
Now, if you're making a Parkinson's drug, would you call it MK02? That sounds...
Because MK stands for technological sciences. That's where it came from.
Mind control.
Whatever K is control.
Well, it doesn't sound, there's no T in there either.
I did. It drove me nuts. I went into Cookie research what the word MK Ultra came from. Ultra was ultra top secret, like from World War II documents. Yeah. And then the MK, although Mastermind doesn't agree, and I can't, and maybe someone from the audience can, and we could start audience questions and conclusions now that you're back. But MK stood for their technological department somehow, and I can't connect it. I couldn't figure it out. Anyway,
That's the guy that ran it. His name was Mike Knob. Just went with his own initials.
Mm-hmm. Some people, if I may, just start showing some comments. Ritalin experiments to dope up kids on amphetamine pills. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very true.
Maybe.
Go ahead.
Mama, give me my pill that makes me feel like a tall tree. I'm sorry, I was.
No, I just need to read
ahead.
the comments. You guys need to respond.
No,
Punk rocker El Duce, see, I said that one right, claimed that Courtney Love offered him $50,000 to kill Kurt Cobain. I heard that El Duce was one of the crazy dudes, but his story exists.
yeah, I think that Courtney Love was one crazy individual.
What was the name of her girl band?
Hole. Or Garbage.
No, she wasn't in Garbage.
She was in Hole, right? I know it was one of the. I knew it was one that was a fitting name. I just couldn't remember which one.
Thank you, Earl, or whoever. I didn't mean to cry on the show, but it was really sad when we read the MK. I don't know if you saw that, Cookie, but see, that's what I'll call it. It makes me sad. It depresses me.
Yeah. I'll take that away from me right now.
MK, it is, and just the reality of. Yeah, we're flippantly saying that, the realizations I've had, but that's actually talking about biological warfare on our citizens.
Yes, ma'am. And it's something that
gross.
they're more than willing to do it. Yeah.
Like they're fucking mocking us.
Ooh, I can't wait till we do false flags and we can start talking about Operation Northwoods and that kind of stuff. Oh yeah. We're gonna dig into that.
Where'd Jacqueline go? I hope she's still here. She comforts me. Is that the one you call mom? I could see why you call her mom.
Mom, she's
mom. She's going to go, oh, that's right. We already talked about that because Manchurian candidates. Yes. Fortunately, Volunteera had a lot of cool things to say. The counterculture has been effectively neutralized, and all those old hippies just complain about taxes.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's funny. Once all those hippies got a mortgage and shit,
they become yuppies.
They started kicking the ladder out for everybody else. Sorry, Mom.
Your mom provided you a good future, man.
She did what she could. She trust me, she wasn't one of the ones in power. So we would have been a lot better off if she would have been.
She wasn't a hippie. Earl of Laurel says the real brainwashing is happening in your computer, which Cookie talked about. You're being targeted by algorithms that aim at you specifically. Imagine a door-to-door salesman who spent the last your whole life to visit you. Why am I not following that?
Because it's a typo. There's a word missing in there. It's all right. I get the idea. Just imagine a door-to-door salesman that's been with you your whole life, who comes to visit you every day. He's going to get to know you pretty well.
I'm not sure what Mark meant here. I'm sorry.
We got.
That's all right. I'm going to skip that one. There's to the show. Stoned ape theory. Eating mushrooms sparked human speech and communication on the African plains that are abundant. Oh, they were tripping and they're like able to form.
Yeah, that's what made our
tripping monkeys
made the little the little chimpanzees. Their brains doubled in a very short time, and that's because of the psilocybin.
There's a lot behind the 100th monkey theory too.
There's a lot of that. The mushrooms going back to Christmas and stuff, and that's why Santa Claus wears red and white. And, the red and white mushroom and it's even mushroom, even on the old 50s, postcards for Christmas, they have little elves sitting on a mushroom all baked out of his brain.
Aw. Some people are having a guacamole debate because you kept calling artichoke avocado. It's so good.
You're not missing
Try it, Jacqueline.
Imagine
it's
taking
delicious.
Grass clippings and mixing it with butter.
Mint feels like you. Green mush, tasteless. Whereas Abby's arguing, really, Jack? Really? Like she's missing out the biggest thing in her life.
No.
Okay.
No, imagine taking grass clippings and mixing it with butter and dipping your chips in it.
2068 from the 60s and the 90s. Oh, that makes sense because we had documents from the 50s. From 75, coming out in 2011.
They still haven't released JFK's papers yet. Yeah, just because they say they're going to release it in 2068, don't mean they're going to release it. Especially if there's still people, if they're still trying to cover their ass, if that department still exists, they won't let it out.
Tossment.
Avocado toast. That's too millennial for me.
Oh, your mom. It's not. Your mom showed me avocado toast back in 2001.
So are we done with the stars?
We're getting there. Yes, we're done with the stars. And I'm
Okay.
going through the 62 comments that you
The
could
stars-
talk about your conclusions
The stars have a line.
and your questions to the fluffles. Cookie could go first. That'd be great.
Sure, because I need my notes.
Sure thing. All right. So for my conclusions, what I wanted to make sure that everyone understood is that the whole reason that we're talking about the MK Ultra programs and how they're trying to control us is because they need to be able to control us so they can steal our wealth, and they need to be able to siphon as much money out of us as possible. And that happens in two ways. Either they take control of your mind and make you do what they want you to do as docile robots. They want you to be smart enough to work the machines, but not smart enough to question why. They want you to be their piggy banks. They want you to be a source that they can siphon wealth out of. And as long as we allow them to do it, we're always going to be nothing but drones. We're always going to be puppets and sheep. And anyone that's listening, anyone that's here with us today, right now, I want you all to be sure to take the time and be discerning. Question everything. Don't let them control you. There's a very important quote about an individual that said, "You are who you think you are. If you let someone else tell you who you think you are, then you have no thought. You are not an individual. You are not a person." So you always have to be able to consider the facts that, hey, maybe my government, maybe the people around me, maybe everything that's being fed to me is a lie. I need to figure out what the truth is. Always seek the truth. That's my message to the people.
Right on.
Regardless of how exhausting it is, Cookie, and makes you drink beer on public TV or whatever, YouTube.
Well,
Like, it was sad. Look at
Well, this goes back to the whole reason as to why I was telling you earlier that ignorance is bliss. When you actually figure these things out and start finding these things out, it's depressing. It's
only
heavy.
gotten worse, I'm sure. If that
It's
was
only
in the
going to get
50s,
worse.
think about how bad it is now. I mean,
I've actually spent the better part of a decade trying to debate with better half about that ignorance is bliss,
yeah.
where she hates
We need
that
to know.
phrase, and I can't imagine anything more painful than knowledge. That's
Yeah.
the most painful thing that you can do to yourself.
Well, the whole reason I say don't trust the people around you is because even the people around you are already brainwashed, and they don't want you to escape that brainwashing. They don't want you to be outside of that circle. They want you to be ignorant with them, because once you're outside of that circle, then you start bringing light to their attention. You start bringing the points of their attention. And then they either do one of two things. Either they completely dismiss you and call you a lunatic, call you a conspiracy theorist.
Or you're annoying.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want to wake up to the reality of things, because in that ignorance, in that bliss, it's peaceful. All you got to do is wake up the next morning and go to work and do your little good drone shit. But once you start realizing the real things that are happening in the world and around you, even the people that you love and care for are going to tell you, don't do that. Why? Because it's going to harm our little perfect world. You got to be able to discern that, because even the people that you love, you got to be able to say, no, I don't want to be a part of that circle anymore. I don't want to be brainwashed with you guys anymore. It's bad for all of us. We should all wake up.
If we can.
Well, it's like, it's Cypher eating a piece of steak going, put me back in the Matrix and make me somebody famous or make me somebody important, like an actor.
Yeah,
That's
the thing
that whole movie.
Maybe we have to be careful of
like an actor.
It's like with Plato's cave, when I was talking about people that are going from the light to the dark and the dark to the light, that you can't laugh at them and you have to use the same language, and you can't come across judgy like, my family made fun of me. Oh, you're a tree hugger. And they didn't even recycle. Like, I was like really pushing for electronics recycling, and, I got made fun of for years. And then I was nuts until I got a science degree, and then they kind of listened,
Well, see, before that, and that's what I mean. Before that, weren't they very dismissive of all of the facts and things that you were bringing up to them? Like, hey, this is what my research is bringing me to talk about. This is what my research is showing me is true. Why do you guys sit here and call me a lunatic or call me a crazy? Because I'm trying to tell you guys, hey, this is the truth of it all.
Right.
Just like now you know how I feel when I try to tell you that the ice caps melting is a natural result of the planet being in the solar system.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying that we're not speeding it up, but I'm saying that
There we
if
go.
mankind had
Finally
never
we said it,
existed,
Cookie. Finally.
there would still be melting ice caps right now.
Okay, Reagan. Thanks. I mean, Mastermind.
See, look who's calling who
Okay.
crazy now, and who's doing ad hoc attacks because you have the superior take,
Where's my
and you think
conclusion?
everybody else is crazy
Where's my
because
conclusion?
I don't talk like you. Do I get to do my main points now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, company man. Tell us
My
about
main
your
po- well, my main-
psychedelic
Well, my
science.
whole takeaway from all of this was, so they started MK Ultra because they were trying to catch up with the Soviets or the communists because they had better mind control stuff. And that's what we want to do, is we wanted to be able to build our own Manchurian candidate. But they supposedly couldn't do it and they gave up, which I gave my thought about crooks being a modern day example of the Manchurian candidate actually working.
Can I ask you a question about that really quick?
Sure.
So you're saying that crooks got dosed up, turned into a vegetable, reprogrammed to just go shoot a gun at Trump.
Oh, no. That's old school. They put some microprocessor behind his ear that
They didn't even
directly
have
into his
to
brain.
dose him anymore.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No, that's old school.
Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
No, I lost it now.
No, you were talking about crooks.
I know, but I
And that you
lost
addressed
my
it.
train of thought. That's
No, it was
okay.
all of it.
I was going to bring it back. Anyway, so they started out trying to brainwash or be able to interrogate, and that morphed into MK Ultra, where they were trying to use the drugs to that's where I was going to go with it. The Canadian guy, yeah, he after he killed that Dr. Olson, he was in 1953. He got dosed and jumped out of a window in a New York City hotel room when he was tripping, and after that, the wheels started coming off. But all these scientists, these observers, they were doing acid too. The guys that Midnight Climax, I think, was just the end result of this party train that went out of control. And by the end, all these spooks were sitting there tripping and just watching porn through a one-way glass and getting paid for it. And taking tax money,
government money
to sit at work,
party,
taking acid and watching porn through a
I
one-way.
would. Tell me you wouldn't do that. Come on.
Of course, they were completely off the chain.
So they
were completely unhooked, and that's what's going to happen is when you have something like this that has no accountability, completely secret, and it's controlled by a bunch of tripping, no moral spooks. It's obviously what that was going to be the natural result of all of that, was just watching porn through a one-way mirror.
So we're not supposed to be doing this?
Yeah, you can do that.
Awesome.
Just don't expect to get tax money paid for it. Do that on your own time.
Behind closed doors, man, like Epstein did.
Right. So that was mine.
Your dark humor Cookie is killing me tonight.
Did we have anything else?
Oh gosh, I don't know, you guys.
Play the video.
I'm good, man. Let me just do one quick real thing.
Yeah, we got to do the clip stuff. Wait.
Yes.
Oh.
Yep. All right. So
housekeeping.
So I wanted to thank everyone for coming today.
support.
I see that Abby Doo's in the chat. Please go ahead and subscribe to her channel. She was on yesterday. She had a great show. Unfortunately, she had technical difficulties, but everybody has those. Cobra's here. Cobra, glad you're here, man. Glad to have you here. Driving Me Macy, Earl of Laurel. Yep.
Sorry.
Jacqueline's here. John Kemper, Johnny Chingas. Mouse, thank you for coming, man. Nihil Nostrum, he's another one of our good buddies. Michael,
there. Yeah.
Be sure to subscribe to his channel as well. Noteworthy. That guy, man, that guy knows a lot, dude. He
Yes,
downplays
he
himself a
does.
lot, but he knows a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah, he does.
Old man Baker, he's still hanging out. Unfortunately, he's having a hard time. People are throwing his fucking shit out on the lawn. Like you said, Savannah Montez is here. Sean, my brother. I hope you're doing good. And Wesley's here, along with. If I missed any of you, I'm glad you guys came today, but I'm really sorry that I missed your
Cosmic.
name.
Don't forget Mother Mind Hour.
Oh, Mother
Mouse.
Hour.
Yeah,
she
I
was
said
in-
that. Yep.
She was in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
No,
I'll
go
start a
ahead.
list. No, I was just gonna say, Cookie, from now on at the end, I'll try to help start a better list of people that came and joined us and helped support us. It was fun. I had a lot of fun.
Speaking of, thank
I'm
you
crying.
everyone. Thank you everyone who came to support us and watch our show. We really can. We do it because it's entertaining, and we're happy that we can entertain you, and we're happy that you guys are supporting us. We love you very much.
And I've got a little. This is what I was trying to. What?
Are you gonna say something creepy?
You have to. Hold on. That was all yours.
Ah,
Okay.
It's killing me.
I think I
Cookie, do
got
you have
it.
anything
Okay, here we
creepy to
go.
say about
You
this?
ready?
Makes my eyes water.
Okay.
Just
Be
don't
careful,
smoke your
you
mom's
guys.
ashes.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
yeah. Oh, we need to get the banners off and hide all this crap.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. I'm new at this. Okay, here we go.
Goodbye,
Good
everyone.
night.
Stop it, please, I beg you!
It will never stop.
That's how I felt tonight. Crying.